My Lord, this is a waking nightmare. Fellow Toastmasters, Mr. Toastmaster, most honorable guests, could you believe that we hadn't even left the driveway yet? 4 young dreamers. The process was simple enough. You buy the wristband, take it out into the middle of nowhere, and you arrive at the promised land, the Pemberton Music Festival. It's a 3-day music festival with world-class acts like Outkast, 9 Inch Nails, The Flaming Lips, even Snoop Dogg. It seemed simple enough, but the first step was we had to leave the driveway. We start off in Mike's driveway. Now, we're packing our stuff all into the back of the trunk, feel like we've got it settled, and as we're closing the hood or the trunk lid, we've got a problem. The trunk won't close. In fact, we had to get the neighbor over to try to rig this trunk closed before we could take off. That's when I got that text. My Lord, this is a waking nightmare. It is now well past our original leaving time of 6:30. And we're nowhere near close to getting to the highway. When we finally get the trunk closed, we drive off to Taylor's driveway. Now once we get to Taylor's driveway, the tension is already a little bit high, relations are already starting to turn a little sour, and you can tell things aren't going so well. So from that point, we repack the trunk with all the new supplies from Taylor's house into the car, this little tiny blue Toyota Echo, and believe me, when I say packed, I mean packed. Not just with supplies, but each one of us is above 6 feet. So you can imagine us climbing into this little Echo very precariously. It looked like a clown car. From Taylor's driveway, we drive all the way to get our supplies, our beer. It's a music festival, that's a given. We drive over to Steele's driveway. Now this is the last stop on our trip. So we pack up all the stuff from Steele's house. Once again, we're crammed into our little clown car, all 4 of us, and we're off. Finally, on our way. It is now midnight. Well past that original time of leaving at 6:30 p.m. But you know what? We're just relieved to be on our way. So we're cruising down the highway, driving to Pemberton. The picturesque views are, of course, pitch black. It's midnight. We can't see a thing. The car ride there, it's not as exciting as you would hope it to be, just because we've had so many hiccups along the way. But those words, this is a waking nightmare. If only we knew how ominous those would be. We stop at a rest stop to switch drivers. So Mike and I switch drivers. Taylor and Steele in the back. They continue on where they are. And we head off. Now, as we're approaching Pemberton, getting closer to our destination, Steele has a realization. Guys, I don't know where my wristband is. Oh no. Check your bag. It's nowhere. It's nowhere. I left it at home. It's on my dresser. It's on my dresser back home in Burnaby. No, it's fine though. He registered his wristband. So of course he can come get it replaced when we arrive at Pemberton. Everything's going to be okay. So off we go. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Finally arrive at the parking lot, the Pemberton Music Festival. We have to drive down this really long bark mulch road that's bumpy as hell to try to get to the final parking spot, where you then have to trudge up all your gear 30 minutes to the campgrounds. This is a bit of an ordeal, especially given that it's 3 a.m. in the morning now. We're all exhausted, hungry, dehydrated, and just out of our minds, waiting to get settled. So we get out of the car, our little clown car. We're all stretching and relaxing and beginning to pull out all of our supplies of the car when Steele has another realization. Guys, I don't know where my duffel bag is. Now, this is not any duffel bag. This bag contains his wallet, his ID, his keys, everything of value, including the clothes he was going to wear for this very long music festival, all in that duffel bag. Can you imagine that feeling, knowing you have to turn around at this point? Fortunately, we were able to pair off. So, Mike and Taylor paired off to go carry the campground supplies up to where we were camping. Steele and I, we decided we're going to head back to the rest stop to see if we have the duffel bag there. If it was maybe left outside the car. The thing about splitting up was, it didn't end there. There was a little more conflict just waiting for us when we split up. As Taylor and Mike make their way up to the campground, they're sweating, carrying those heavy chairs, just digging into their shoulders, carrying the sleeping bags, only the essentials of what they absolutely need to get some rest. They make it to the campground. It's tents on tents on tents on tents. Everywhere you look, it's tents. It's hard to find a place to set up. But when they do, they're too tired to set up both tents. So they just begin with one. When the neighbors come over, row one wanders over to Mike and Taylor and says, "So yeah, you guys can't set up here." "Yeah, these spots are actually reserved for our friends who are arriving tomorrow morning." You've got to be kidding me. Mike and Taylor can't believe it. They try to reason with these guys. "Come on, man. We can come up with a compromise, right? We'll move in the morning. It'll all be fine. Let's just get some sleep. We want to relax. We've been driving all night." Okay. So bro one walks off. Taylor and Mike are all set up with their tents. 15 minutes later, as their tent is just about set up, they're ready to have a nice long sleep. Bro one and bro two come over. So yeah, you really can't stay here. You guys have to. I can't believe this. Am I dreaming? What? Am I literally living through this situation? Mike is in disbelief. Taylor is speechless. But they say, whatever. We're being threatened. We're being expelled from our campground. But this is all we've got. This is all we have to deal with. So they set up in a new campground. Some good Samaritans come over. They're comforting Mike and Taylor through all the turmoil that they've been through. And they go to sleep finally. Meanwhile, Steele and I drive all the way to the rest stop, no duffel bag. Drive all the way to Burnaby, no duffel bag. So Mike has to pack all his stuff again, brand new clothing, grabs his wristband. Very important. And we try to close that trunk again. It's giving us a little more trouble. We actually have to MacGyver it closed. And I'm not the handiest of people, so you can imagine how it looked. Trying to keep a broken trunk closed. Bounced all the way back to Scranton, actually. We finally arrive. It's now 10 in the morning. I have no sleep at all. finally set up the count and get ready to enjoy the music festival. I couldn't believe the nightmares we had to trudge through. But you know what? Because we trudged through those nightmares, the dreams were all that much sweeter. The music festival was amazing. We had so much fun. But it's a little boring to tell you that story. I much prefer this one. See, I'm ready to let go of this nightmare now that I've told the story that I really needed to tell. I've boiled it down to my essence. So here it goes. Remember, when today is too much and won't go your way, past nightmares remind you it'll all be okay.